Mood when your next game starters, David Peterson, these days?
I'm still a little grumpy from last night. I didn't think we were as competitive as we thought we should be over there, and it's a tough. If you expect to win over there, you better be a little play better. And that's what I told the guys and coach better, and didn't think we were very competitive. So, but turn the page. It's picture day. It's a great day, and I guess the only good news is it wasn't a conference game, so we're sitting right where we were in conference and still have a lot of work to do. Sure, seems like the Cougars are playing a lot better, 2 series in a row, and for us that's been a tough place to win anyway, so we've got our work cut out for us.
Corvallis is a tough place to play for a lot of reasons, and you're playing a lot of young guys, starting 4 or 5 guys in the field, freshmen some days. How do you feel like they handled that?
It looked like they were kind of in character. I don't know. Didn't think that we were extremely on point offensively, most of all. And Ryan Nelson hadn't been out there for a long time, and he strikes out arguably maybe the best player in the league and maybe one of the best players in the country, Madrigal. And thought, wow, that's a good start. His curveball looked good, and then he ended up giving up some free bases, and I thought Acuna was a shining star, and Cooper did his job, and it wasn't about pitching. I think if the double play ball that got away from us was hit extremely hard, so on turf you expect to make that play, and so we could have played better in some areas, but it wasn't necessarily about pitching and defense. Their 2 lefties were very good, or we were very bad. We struck out 6 of the last 8 at bats, so I didn't think that was a way to go out.
Would you have foreseen in the fall using this many freshmen to the extent you are right now?
Well, we'd hoped some of our upperclassmen that things haven't gone as well as they would want or we would want. Had obviously the guys that we started out the season with, we thought that they would stay there. We did know that we had a very talented class and that those guys would put pressure on those upperclassmen and maybe bring out the best in them, and unfortunately that didn't work, and so now it's their turn and they've taken advantage of their turns.
Have you seen through scouting reports or numbers just what Washington State's kind of done these last couple of weeks? They're better than early on?
I haven't. I do know that they beat a good Utah team that's playing very well and beat them pretty handily in the second day, 10-1. And Coach Lees I know he's a very good baseball coach and a good person, and looks like he and his staff have made an impact on their guys in the second year in the program. So
you guys keep them. You take the series against Arizona State, then you go lose them midweek. Do you lose some of the momentum, or can you tell them, hey, flush it because it wasn't a conference one and we need to get another conference series here?
Well, hopefully it doesn't knock us on our rear end so much that we have a hangover effect of that. None of us wanted to go over there and lose, and I keep saying to my guys and to you, and it's the truth, that every game that we can win, whether it's the #1 RPI team or the #1 team in the country, or when we play Portland next week on Tuesday, every win that you can get is significant, some more than others. When you can win on the road, whether it's Washington State that doesn't have a high RPI, it certainly seems winning on the road is a good formula for jumping up. You just look at where Stanford was and where we were before the series. I'm having a tough time understanding all the idiosyncrasies of the RPI with the new away calculation and so forth. I understood it a little bit more, or it seemed like it was more reasonable before this. And now Stanford becomes one of the hottest teams in the country. They're now number 14 in some and 12 in RPI, where they were I think they were higher than us when we played them. Like, we were in the 30s. They were higher. They come in and sweep us, and it sets us back to 61 or somewhere in that. And from the chair I sit in, this isn't sour grapes. We got to win games. But the teams out in other leagues, they get swept all the time. They don't even come out of the top 25, So I don't get it. We played Arizona, Mississippi State. We're going to play Oregon State. We're playing those teams that have higher RPIs. Certainly have to win the games. That's where it starts. But it sure seems that that weekend against Stanford was extremely costly for us and extremely beneficial to them, I guess is the best way to say it.
Then you come back and take 2 out of 3 from Arizona State and you didn't really move up at all. They kept you the same there, so.
Yeah, and they're a 500 team and way under 500 in conference, but they're still Arizona State. They had the #1 recruiting class, so I think every team in the pack is a worthy team, whether they're high on the RPI or not. And it's kind of proven. I keep saying, other than the Beavers who are handling their end of the bargain, everybody else is beating everybody on different weekends. It doesn't matter what their RPI is or where they're in the conference standing. You just have to play good at the moment, and that's our objective right now, is having a good practice today and playing well up at Washington State, and quit going like this if you're George Horton, palms up at what's going on. The way to control that, the committee and the RPI, and that they've tinkered with that formula, and it's not a perfect formula, and they've got their work cut out for us. The way you protect that is you win as many games as you can, and understand that committee has a very difficult challenge.
You guys can close to finding that sophomore starter yet?
Well, it's Stringer right now. He said, "Hey, look at me. I deserve to be back in there," and he'll be back in there this weekend. And I think he'll do everything in his power to not ever lose that again.
What's he been doing, just like on the field that you liked in him?
Cole's pretty consistent. He's a very confident individual, and I don't know if he really. We were looking for something a little bit better and somebody that could get deeper into the game, and it happened temporarily, and then it actually got worse. So careful what you ask for, right? And then you have a little bit of a hangover effect that you have to show Cole confidence. He's got confidence. You don't want to get him out of there too soon and let him pitch as deep as he deserves to pitch into the game. So that'll be the objective for him, is make sure that we don't pull the trigger too soon and show him lack of confidence, because he deserves to have our confidence.
Is that kind of frustrating, not having the third guy in the rotation for a while, and just kind of?
Yeah, I think it's. Yes, you'd like, if you're a college baseball coach, you'd like to have 4 quality starters, but look across the country and Sunday scores or third game of the series scores, or even sometimes second game of the series. Not everybody has that luxury. We've got some good arms, and some of our better arms are not conditioned to be starting pitchers, i.e. Ryan Nelson coming back, Kenyon Yoban, Zwett, Stiles, Warren. Those guys are good pitchers that aren't conditioned to get into the 6th and 7th inning.
How was Cole handled shuffling in and out of the rotation like that?
I think very maturely. Coach Dietrich does a good job of communicating with the guys. It isn't he's not going to lie to them. It's a man-to-man, face-to-face. Hey, look, I'm going in a different direction. And I think if I was a player, that's how I'd like to be treated. And there was no, secrets, or I thought he handled it well. He was like you would want my son to be, disappointed, maybe even disagreeing or not understanding to that level, but never ever violating the team concept and what's best for the team, and that understanding the vehicle to get back in there is be ready when your chance arises, and he's done all those things, and now his chance arose and he's taken full advantage of it. I think that's perfect. Tantrums, or being that cancer, for lack of a better description, getting a teammate and going, hey, I'm getting a short end of the stick. And our guys don't do that. I think they're pretty mature, at least to my knowledge. And we ask a lot of them not to do that, because they're all, you don't recruit crummy players. They're all really good, and they've never sat the bench. So sometimes it's their turn to shine, and sometimes it's their turn to take a secondary role. And I think our guys do a pretty good job of that, quite frankly.
Thanks, Vince. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, thanks.